I love shitting.
Let's go in 3, 2, 1. I feel like iCarly.
Hey guys, welcome to the Never Sold Out podcast. Today our topic is our top 10 Star Wars villains. But before we get into that list, there's actually been some Star Wars news today, so it's kind of cool. I don't think Andrew's ever watched Clone Wars, but I know you are watching Clone Wars currently, Eric.
A little bit here and there.
Well, they just announced a spinoff for
Really?
the Bad Batch, which is coming in to Disney Plus 2021. The
Mhm.
Bad Batch is a group of clones that were kind of disfigured, and they're like these like elite mercenaries now, and they made their first appearances in the newest season of Clone Wars. So if you haven't watched it, check it out. It's a really great 3-episode arc, and I'm really excited to be getting a TV series for the Bad Batch. So new Star Wars news today: Bad Batch, Disney Plus, 2021.
Awesome.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
And we were just complaining last week about how there wasn't a bunch of original content in
Yeah.
there.
Well, the thing is, they keep announcing things, but they're not releasing it.
That's true. That's true.
They've announced like 20 Marvel shows, like 15 Disney Star Wars shows, but like nothing's coming out or even in production. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, so we're doing the top 10 villains. Do you guys have your list?
Yes, sir.
I have most of mine, so I'm going to actually work on it while you guys are talking about yours.
He's
Okay.
gonna steal ideas
You-
from us, Nick.
Yeah,
For-
he probably
no,
is.
see, at least for me, I'm only going based off of the movies that I've seen.
Okay.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
Me
that's
Like,
fine.
I'm not going off of anything else because I haven't really watched anything else. So
That's fine. Still Star Wars.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter as long as it's canon. To me, it's cool for the list. You know, unfortunately, there's some really great characters that are from the legends, like Starkiller and stuff like that. But I am going to say they're excluded from the list because they are no longer canon. So
That's
if
right.
it's not canon, it's not on the list. So I'll start it off. But before I get to my number 10, there's a couple honorable mentions that I really want to put on my list, but I just couldn't. But I have to mention them. So number 1 would be Orson Krennic from Rogue One.
Okay.
His work with the Death Star, and I think what Ben Mendelsohn did with the character, who's so great, he served his purpose. And I thought it was really funny how when he dies in the film, it was by the Death Star.
Irony.
And then the next one is Kylo Ren. I think Kylo Ren is a very complex villain. He definitely struggles between the light and dark. And he didn't quite make my top 10 list, but I wanted to mention him that I am a big fan of Kylo Ren. Another character is from the Clone Wars, so Andrew probably won't know who she is. Eric, you should if you've watched the first season. Asajj Ventress,
Yes.
who's one of the greatest characters of the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
She actually was on my list at a point, but she got bumped off. And then my last honorable mention, and for those who are fans of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, Juan Carlos Esposito is an amazing actor. He's the villain of The Mandalorian as Moff Gideon. And he was only made appearances in 2 episodes, but those 2 episodes are very powerful, and I have a feeling he's going to be a really iconic villain come season 2.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to get those out of the way, and then I'll start off with my number 10, and then we'll go to Eric, and then we'll go to Andrew.
Okay.
So my number 10 is a character from the Clone Wars. He's a Jedi Knight, and his name is Pong Krill. If you guys have ever seen Star Wars Episode 2, which you have, remember the alien that Obi-Wan meets in the diner, Dexter Jester?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pong Krill that's what Pong Krill is, that race of alien. And he's actually voiced by the guy who did Kratos in God of War. So he was a pretty ruthless general, and he's pretty dope. He does not like the clones. He despises them. And he will actually put them in situations where they die. Like, he'll be sending them in the battle, and instead of, like, going with normal formats, he's like, no, just go down the middle. And like, well, sir, we're going to die. And he goes, just go down the middle. You take orders. And, like, he basically was like, they're expendable. I don't care about them. And ultimately, like, the clones turn on him because he's a villain. He's bad. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So he's in the Clone Wars. I don't remember. I think it's around season 3 he makes his appearance. But he's a really great villain, and I highly suggest anybody who's watching and you guys check out that 3-episode arc. He's great. Pong Krill is my number 10. Eric.
All right, mine is a little different because it's not necessarily one specific character, but stormtroopers in general.
Yeah.
They're the very first like evil or bad thing you see in Star Wars, even moments before Vader. I mean, they're everywhere in Star Wars. Everywhere.
Smack their head.
Yeah, they smack their heads. They suck at shooting. I mean, stormtroopers. It doesn't matter if it's from the original trilogy or even like, the First Order stormtroopers. Doesn't matter. They're perfect in my opinion. As just an evil army, I guess you could say.
Agreed. I agree.
So there's my number 10.
Andrew, 10.
So for me, number 10 was probably the hardest one for me to pick. But I went with Snoke.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of him as a character. I thought his character writing was pretty weak and he wasn't really used too much. That's probably why his character was really weak. But I think his character played a vital role in what the outcomes of those final 3 movies came to be. Even though we don't really know what he did, unless there was something that I missed, because I didn't see the 3rd movie in the final trilogy yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Snoke. Cool character, cool design at least. Because you had no idea who he was or what he was going into The Force Awakens. He was just kind of this being, and then you finally met him in the next movie.
I will tell my number 9 in a second. My cat is freaking out in the next room. She doesn't want to get off the bed, so let me get off the bed real quick. So, Eric, tell us about your day.
My day was fine. I mean, got up, went out, did what I had to do. Got home maybe like an hour ago.
All
There
right.
I am.
Sorry, my cat, she's a little up in age. She has arthritis, and she doesn't want to jump off the bed, so she was like freaking out as Andrew was talking. I was like, all right, so my number 9 is actually Snoke.
Okay.
Snoke is actually, I gotta be honest, he's my favorite villain of the sequel trilogy. There was, ever since the leading up to The Force Awakens, when I heard Andy Serkis was this mysterious character named Snoke, and then you see him on that giant holographic version of him. He had such a presence, and I do think like he served a purpose. He obviously built the First Order. He kind of was very Palpatine like. I think the Last Jedi, although he met his demise in the Last Jedi, he served that purpose to have Kylo face that final obstacle that was Snoke.
Right.
He showed how powerful he was. Now they are starting to explore his backstory a tad bit in the comics. I haven't read it too much. I'm actually waiting for it to come in the mail, which comes out I think like next month, so I'll know more then. Okay. But I do have an answer for you what they did decide to say Snoke was in the last movie, but I don't know if you want me to spoil it for you or not.
Go ahead and spoil it. It's been enough time. It's fine.
I'm actually kind of like disappointed with what they did with that, and I am a fan of the Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt, but basically Palpatine made Snoke. He was a clone.
It was kind of a
cop
out, but at the same time it worked.
Yeah, no, it definitely was up to like, all right, I buy it, whatever. But I think they're eventually going to answer to how did you know what I mean? Because they never said they could make a clone with Force abilities, right?
Right.
Well, I think that's what's going to tie the Mandalorian in with everything else.
Yeah, so I think there will be more to Snoke's story, but I think they're going to probably tell it in a novelization or a graphic novel or something. But Snoke is definitely a guy who I've been very intrigued by. I don't know why, but I really love his character. But yeah, Snoke is my number 9, and I think that unfortunately, I think that he didn't get the service he deserved. I believe he could have been so much more.
Yeah.
But they do hint in the comics that the reason why he's all scarred up is from a fight with Luke. So they hint that he did fight Luke, and and he actually put it on my Instagram story, on my personal Instagram page. If you guys looked at it, I actually had a photo of Snoke in the comics, and it says, "I wasn't born Snoke, I became Snoke." So they're definitely exploring Snoke's backstory in the Rise of Kylo Ren graphic novel. So when I read it, I'll we'll probably do an episode, and I can
fill me in.
Yeah. But no, Snoke is definitely an iconic character. Believe it or not, he is my favorite villain of the sequel trilogy. I love him.
All right.
Okay.
Eric?
Nice.
All makes sense to me.
Yeah.
My number 9 is Count Dooku.
Okay.
I just love how classic of a villain he is. First off, he's played by the great Christopher Lee. How classic of a villain can you get other than that actor?
Yeah.
But
it's amazing.
Yeah. Like, I like the character. I like the fact that he was once a Jedi, you know, left the Order and all that.
But do you know why he left the Order?
I do, but it's slipping my mind at the moment. Please remind me.
Darth Maul killed his apprentice. Qui-Gon Jinn.
That's right. Yes. That's right. I forgot about it. I knew that Qui-Gon was his apprentice at one point. I just forgot completely why he left. But yeah, I choose him as my number 9. Like I said, I just love the classic villain to him. It adds something different to Star Wars other than, like the other villains are. I like the way he fights as well. It's very graceful and all that.
Fencing.
Yeah, exactly. It's more fencing than anything.
Yep.
Just the character himself. I like the character overall.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dooku rocks, and I also want to give a shout out to Qui-Gon. May he rest in peace.
Yes, may he rest in peace. My favorite Jedi, by the way.
I would say he was probably one of the greatest Jedis. If we did a top 10 favorite Jedi, Qui-Gon probably would be up there.
I just thought it was hilarious as a kid. Like, you didn't know who these actors were. Like,
right?
And I was just like, Liam Neeson. It's Liam Neeson. What?
Dude, I didn't realize that until like Revenge of the Sith came out.
Right?
Yeah, but it was funny. I don't think I realized that Liam Neeson was Qui-Gon Jinn until like maybe I was watching like Taken one day. I'm like, that's the guy from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then like clicked in my head. I'm like, oh my god, it's Liam Neeson.
And then you look up Liam Neeson and you're like, this dude was in everything that I never realized.
Well, if you think about it, when that movie came out, we were all like young. I think me and Nick were what, like 5, 6 years old.
I was in kindergarten because I was Darth Maul for Halloween.
Yeah.
Because I was
8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't know.
And it's funny though, because like, I mean, that was our childhood. The prequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'll be the first to say the prequel trilogy is my favorite trilogy of Star Wars.
Mine too.
Yeah, I mean,
same.
I mean, that's the Star Wars we grew up in, and it's so funny, like the similarities that the sequel trilogy is getting with the prequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The same fans that dog the prequel trilogy is now dogging the sequel trilogy, and it's funny, they're all asking for George Lucas again, but your guys are the reason why George Lucas sold it.
Exactly.
Like, there's a documentary, The People vs. George Lucas, that like basically, like, I mean, Simon Pegg is famous for saying that George Lucas killed his love child.
Yeah.
Because of the hatred of the prequels. And it's like, dude, you guys don't even know how powerful this prequel trilogies are. And I will go any day and defend that all 3 of those movies are amazing.
In their own
way.
Them,
I like them. I like them more than the original trilogy. And I watched. And I don't want to hear, well, you didn't grow up with the original trilogy. Well, dude, I saw the original trilogy even before that even came out.
Yeah, when they would put them in the theaters, plus you probably had them on VHS.
I had the VHS box set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Andrew had the same one. The Vader.
We did?
Yeah, I had it. So I seen it. I had all the figures before I even saw the damn movie. And then the prequels came out, and Darth Maul changed my life. Okay?
It changed all our lives.
Yeah, Darth Maul and Yoda, baby. Like, Yoda...
I already fully expect to know both of your number ones, so...
Actually...
No,
I'll get to it.
I know.
Mine might be a bit obvious.
Yeah, Darth Maul and Yoda have always been my favorite characters, and Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
But like Yoda, I've always loved because he was short, and I was short, and I thought it was so cool that he was so strong as a short guy. And then I saw him, and then that second episode 2 when he fights Dooku, I'm like,
yeah, that was it.
That was my guy.
My boy.
So my number 9 is Kylo Ren.
Okay.
I think as a person who is in their 20s and going through and have gone through a lot of things, a lot of things that are similar to where you're just like, I don't know which way I need to feel about a certain situation. You can really
Yeah.
sympathize with Kylo's character, and it's just he he spoke on a different level. He wasn't like incredible in terms of like his skill or his fear that he drew. It was
Mhm.
more of this guy. He's been through a lot. He's very confused, as
Mhm.
most people are when they're growing up, and he handled it the way that he handled it. So,
Yep.
uh, for those reasons, he's number 9 on my list.
Well, I always loved the line from Last Jedi when Luke's saying, like, when he ignited the lightsaber, and he goes, and I looked down, I just saw a scared kid, and you
Yeah.
see his look, and it's like that says it all. Like,
Yeah.
imagine your master turning on you.
Yeah.
And then you have this guy, this evil being, Snoke, seducing you,
Mhm.
and and that's why I'm excited to read The Rise of Kylo Ren,
Yeah.
because I want to see how Snoke did pull him in. And I don't think Luke helped, unfortunately, with
No.
And I mean, it goes to say, probably the third coolest helmet in all
Oh,
the
hands
series.
down.
So
Hands down.
I really love the way it looks in The Rise of Skywalker with the
Yeah,
red
me too.
veining.
yeah,
It's really cool. No, Kylo, and I think Kylo actually is one of the characters that had a really great arc all the way
Yes.
through.
yeah,
He definitely was flushed out. They ended the story really nice. Kylo is definitely like I said, he didn't quite make my top 10, but he's I really do enjoy him a lot.
yeah. You had a larger selection than I did, so it makes sense
Yeah.
that he's not on there.
Yeah. So my number 8 is the villain of Star Wars Rebels, and it's Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now he was a
Okay.
character that came from Legends back when the old EU there was a Thrawn trilogy by
Mhm.
Timothy Zahn, and they were revered to be like some of the greatest Star Wars stories ever. And it was kind of cool when they showed that trailer. I want to say it was for season 2 or 3. I don't remember which season he comes in.
Mhm.
It's all kind of a blur, but I remember seeing the trailer and you see him walk in, and you're like, "Shit, that's Thrawn," and he did not disappoint. He's very strategic. He was calm. He's like there's not like an aura about him. He's just very powerful, and
Mhm.
and he was just like he was like it's a, like he like I love like he was one of those guys like to know your like to defeat your enemy you have to know your enemy, and
Mhm.
Ah, okay.
that's what was so scary about him. Like even like in his like office, he had like all these like trophies from like different like cultures, like from like the Jedi Temple Guard helmet to like a Mandalorian like mural. Like he had all these things you could tell like he studied the art of war of all his opponents.
Right.
And I mean, he was a like if I encourage anybody to watch Rebels and to take and to see Thrawn in person, he's amazing.
Sounds like it.
Yeah,
I'll have to get to Rebels eventually.
yeah. Finish Clone Wars first.
Yeah, absolutely. My number 8 is General Grievous.
Okay,
Okay.
Grievous is
What-
amazing.
I
Love
mean,
Grievous.
what's cooler than an android or
Yeah.
a robot or whatever the hell he is? I mean, what's cooler than that? The first time I saw him, I'm watching Revenge of the Sith. I just couldn't believe it. Just the look of him when he just comes in, and then later on with the quadruple lightsaber against Obi-Wan, I'm just my mind. What was I? Was I 12 or 13, something like that? Whatever age I was, that aged mind was blown completely.
I remember seeing him from the trailer because I had his and I remember when I got his action figure before the movie came out. I thought he was a good guy because
no
he
kidding.
had blue and green lightsabers.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So
Right?
you probably thought he was a Jedi.
So I remember when I would play with the toys before the movie, he was a Jedi. I'm like, yeah, he's a good guy. And then when you're watching the movie, you're like, what? He's got lightsabers and he's not good. What? But no, I was in love with Grievous just from his look alone.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Is his look, his just everything about him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Grievous is he's okay in my book.
Yeah,
Right.
I enjoy him.
Yeah. Andrew, what's your number 7?
I thought we were on 8.
Andrew, what's
We
your
are
number
on
8? I'm
right.
on 7. You're on 8.
Yes. Number 8 is Jango Fett.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Nice.
Yeah, I love Django. I love me some Django.
Django was cool. I personally, since I'm a huge Obi-Wan fan, his interactions with Jango Fett were really awesome
One of the best
in
fights.
episode 2. Yeah.
Yes.
So for that, he made it onto my top 10 list, and I think obviously sparked later on Boba Fett,
Hmm.
and we'll see where he lays on other people's lists later on, possibly
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. So my number 7 is actually General Grievous.
Okay.
Yeah, and I always loved him from Revenge of the Sith, and then when I watched Clone Wars, you appreciate him that much more. You find out his original race is he's not an android.
No.
He was an actual like alien race. I don't remember what exactly it was called, but if you actually Google General Grievous, like before, you could see a photo of General Grievous before he's in his android, and it was just so unique to see a character. One, he was an incredible war general, and that's what like I feel like Revenge of the Sith didn't always show. But if you watch
No.
Clone Wars, like he wiped out the planet where Maul comes from, Dathomir. He wiped out Dathomir.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, and that was one of his shining moments. But like, to see him kind of be an apprentice of Count Dooku was so cool to me because again, like he was not a Force user, but he was so great of a warrior. He was able to wield the saber and kill. Like this sabers he had, he didn't just get him; he killed.
Yeah.
So he was killing Jedi.
Yeah.
And there's only a few people that like Boba Fett killed Jedi's. I'm sure Django did. I'd have to probably read more into that, but I'm sure Django did. But like Grievous is one of the first to like kill Jedi without being like a Sith. Or you know what I mean? Like he was just a really great war hero.
Or a huge group of clone troopers.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
And let me add this to Grievous too, because I didn't get to say it when I mentioned him on my list. Another thing I thought was great about him is he's almost like a precursor to Vader with the whole robotics right there. You can tell it's not perfect; it's still like in its infancy, basically. Yeah, with the liquid in the lungs and everything. Like, like it's almost like. Obviously, the whole prequel trilogy was, a lead up to Vader, but I feel like that was just a little extra that really a lot of Star Wars fans, like the diehards, like they saw that and they're like, huh. And so I wonder if that's what led to Vader's suit,
Well, I also feel like, it probably does because Sidious obviously had involvement in the technology behind Grievous. You actually, there's an episode of Clone Wars, which is in the first season, I believe, Eric. You might be close to it or have seen it, where they go to Grievous's lair, and you see him like interchanging his like extremities. It's pretty sweet. And he actually kills a Jedi in that episode.
That's cool.
Cool.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like Grievous gets a bad rep, which I don't even know why the prequel trilogy gets a bad rep to begin with, because I love it.
Yeah.
But he gets a bad rep, and then when people watch Clone Wars, they actually have a different perspective of Grievous because they think in Revenge of the Sith he's a coward because he constantly runs from fights, which he ran from one fight and then literally fought Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I mean, he fought him. So but they showed in Clone Wars that he was an actual really great war general.
Yeah.
Like, he was like just the episode where he wipes out Dathomir is one of the coolest episodes of Clone Wars.
That explains Darth Maul too.
And you also got to think, like, in that situation that he was in Revenge of the Sith, like, the only purpose that he really had being there was to abduct Senator Palpatine.
Exactly.
And he did his role. Like, he was there to cause a disturbance and get Jedis out there to save Palpatine.
Yep.
And then started the arc of Darth Vader. So it was all part of the plan for him to just leave after that. He didn't have to stay and do anything. He would have been able to hold up pretty well. Yeah. It's just he didn't need to.
Exactly.
What's cool is in Clone Wars, Anakin never sees Grievous through the whole season of Clone Wars because remember, he's like, "You're taller than I would
Oh,
expect."
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh no, did he say you're smaller than I expect or something like that?
Yeah.
He never sees him until that moment.
Hmm.
So it's really cool. Like Clone Wars, really like for those who were iffy on the prequels when they watched Clone Wars, it actually made Revenge of the Sith that much more amazing. And I think Revenge of the Sith is the greatest Star Wars movie ever made.
I love Revenge of the Sith. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, hands
good.
down, it is the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. I mean,
Like,
At the very least, the best in that trilogy.
no,
I
it's
saw
the best ever made.
I saw a thing on Twitter the other day. Like someone tweeted out like a thing about the fight scene in I think it was The Last Jedi,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Oh, this is the best fight scene in Star Wars," and then someone commented and said the fight scene in Revenge of the Sith was way better, and
Yeah.
that had more likes than the original post, and I was like, "This is deserving."
Well, like think about it. You had two of the greatest fight scenes going on simultaneously. Okay,
Yes.
Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then Yoda and Palpatine.
Exactly.
You
There's
can't
no
beat
topping that.
Like just that part when Obi-Wan and Anakin hit the Force.
Yes.
Mhm.
Boom! Like oh man, like it's so
The-
good.
The amount of times that we reenacted that in our backyards.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm pretty sure at one point my backyard was like permanently Mustafar. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, son. I mean, and it's kind of cool. I will say, Andrew is an OG Obi-Wan fan. Okay. Obi-Wan, I think, just became even cooler through the prequels. But Andrew went as far before the prequels came out. Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Andrew was an Obi-Wan fan.
Dude
Okay.
was a
Okay.
baller.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
And then it just so happened that Ewan McGregor just killed it.
Yes.
He just killed it.
He was the most incredible thing to happen to Obi-Wan, and
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
everything justice.
Yeah, like I think it's funny. Like our favorite characters before the prequels came out. I was Yoda. He
Mhm.
was Obi-Wan. Two characters that, I mean, they showed their powers and they were very strong in the film, but they didn't really do much.
They didn't show who they were until the prequels.
Yeah, and then
Well,
like
they
and
were
then
meant to be a mystery for that trilogy.
yeah, but that's what I think is kind of cool. Like me and Andrew like these characters that they weren't even like a part of they weren't even a part of the trio, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yoda was just to help Luke. Like he was supposed to like Yoda just took over for what Obi-Wan couldn't do.
Hmm.
You know, because Obi-Wan obviously dies, and then Yoda finishes Luke's training and then dies. You know, the coolest thing Yoda did was he lifted a friggin' X-wing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the coolest thing Obi-Wan did was he fought Vader in a really blocky, stiff fight. Like
Yeah.
those were our favorite characters. You know what I mean? Those were the guys we looked up to.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the prequels mean so much to us, is because our characters had time to shine.
There you go.
Yeah. So, Eric, what is your number 7?
My
Yeah,
number
7.
7, Darth Jar Jar. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna make that joke, you jerk.
I beat you to it.
I'm kidding.
I'm leaving. I'm just kidding.
No, my real number 7 is Krennic from
Okay.
Rogue One.
Krennic's amazing.
I just
Yeah.
love the energy of that character. I love how he follows orders to a T, but he's so passionate about everything that he goes about in that film, that character. Plus the actor I love as well. He's just a boss in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn's amazing.
Oh yeah. But that character Krennic, I just thought was such a perfect like villain for that movie. Like Vader's on another level in that movie. He doesn't even need to be mentioned. But like Krennic, I don't know. There's something about like the second I saw him in the commercials, like I just saw the white uniform and all that. I'm like, oh, that's different. I could tell he's gonna be evil as hell.
Yep.
And he was. I thought he was fantastic.
I bought his Black Series figure the moment it came out.
Did you?
Yeah, because I just loved his character. Even before I even watched the film, I was like, he's just amazing.
And even the name, I love the name.
Orson
Yeah.
Krennic.
Yup, Orson Krennic. Like Krennic, just Krennic alone, you hear the name and it kind of puts fear into you. Like, oh man, I got to get out of here.
His scene, I loved his exchange with Vader.
Yes.
You know, careful not to choke on your aspirations.
Like when I first saw that, I was like, okay, really, you're gonna make that
Loved
joke?
it.
But at the same
Loved it.
time, but it grew on me. Like when I saw it the second time, I'm like, all right, you know what? This works. I like it.
I mean, it's gotta be cool to be Ben Mendelsohn to know, like, I got to do a scene and got force choked by Vader.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Pretty
going to be an
sweet.
honor. That's basically like getting choked by Kane Hodder right there.
Yeah, exactly, which we have. So,
Oh, man.
Andrew, number
Yes.
7.
Number 7, Jabba the Hutt. Hut man himself, pizza.
Yeah,
Not
Pizza
Pizza
the
the
Hut.
Hut.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut.
Spaceballs.
Exactly. No, I think Jabba is a quintessential character in Star Wars,
Yep.
and not only just for the originals, but the prequels as well.
Yes.
You see his vast reach in like the underground network and everything that is run on Tatooine, which is basically his planet, because he just runs everything that's going on there and owns pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I think he's a really cool character.
Yeah.
Obviously, he probably has more story than what I've seen in the movies, and
Yeah, he does.
Clone Wars.
yeah, so it's a lot more than what I know. But even
Okay.
from what
Yeah.
I know, I think Jabba's character was essential to the storyline.
Yes.
It's very cool because in the Clone Wars, his family, the Hutts,
Mhm.
is like a very powerful,
Crime organization.
mobs. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they actually do have their own planet. It's called now Hutta.
Mhm.
Now Jabba runs Tatooine, but the Hutts have a planet called now Hutta.
Okay. See,
The
look at that.
the Hutts are interesting. Like, I did see the Clone Wars movie.
Yep.
Wasn't a big fan, but it kind of added a little more to the Hutts a little bit, just a little.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that.
Yeah. No, Jabba's amazing. Unfortunately, Jabba's not on my list, and I contemplated so hard to put him there because I do love Jabba the Hutt so much. He's such a great character. So I'm happy Andrew got to put him up, so we get to talk about Jabba for a bit. Actually, there was a rumor for a long time, and I wish it would come true, that Guillermo del Toro was supposed to do a Jabba the Hutt spin-off movie.
What?
That'd be
And it was supposed to be like a mob movie. Yeah, and I'm like,
That
bro.
would be perfect.
Yeah, so I hope that gains traction one of these days and it happens. I mean, can you imagine a Jabba the Hutt film?
They have Disney Plus for a reason. They should be
Exactly.
doing this.
I know. I mean, they even hinted for like when they were going to do Solo 2, and then the fans ruined that. By not going to see the film. They hinted, go to Tatooine. There's a big job there. It's like you could have saw like the job.
I love Solo. It was such a good
So
movie.
do I.
Such a great movie.
I know. Oh my god, that's another topic.
Yeah.
That's a whole other episode right there.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So that brings me to 6, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So my 6 is Bulba / Jango Fett.
Okay.
I
It's
got
a
both the Fetts because
good call to put them together.
yeah, I mean, they're I kind of essentially feel like they're the same person.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but like, I mean, obviously, like the look of them alone is like enough to draw you. Bulba Fett's always been such a great character, and he's done nothing.
Well, that's the reason why everybody fell in love with him. You didn't get much of him, but he just looked awesome.
Yeah, and then you got Jango Fett, and the fact that Jango Fett had the balls to fight Obi-Wan.
Right.
In such a sick fight. And then he even went toe-to-toe with Mace Windu, but, unfortunately, he's fucking Sam Jackson, baby.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do?
Not many people beat Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, honestly, unless you're a friggin' shark in the deep blue sea, you ain't stopping
That's
that
true.
man. Not even
Exactly,
the
yeah.
plane can
Very
take that
true.
dude out. But, no, I know, seriously, no, I just felt like, without Django, we wouldn't have the clones. The fact that he was such a great warrior that, Jedi Master Seyfa Diaz was like, let's get an army of this dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boba Fett was actually like a decelerated version of the clones, so he would age slower. And you actually get to see in Clone Wars the young Boba Fett.
Okay.
Really?
You see him hang out with Bosk.
We get more Bosk? Nice.
Yeah, Bosk is in it. He's in prison with Boba Fett for an episode.
Nice.
And you get to see him. Like, you actually get to see like Boba Fett do jobs, and slowly make his name like his father. So, you really get to appreciate Boba Fett through the Clone Wars. And then also, too, like, Boba Fett's returning in Mando Season 2. And I just like the fact that, like, the Mandalorians carrying the mantle to continue the stories of these elite warriors.
Yeah.
So yeah, Django and Boba Fett are my number 6. I just think that they're really great characters. There's times I like Django Fett a little bit more because he's done more.
Mhm.
And like I said, that scene with him and Obi-Wan was just incredible. So.
Yes, it was. All right, my number 6 is Jabba the Hutt.
Okay.
So with everything that Andrew threw in, as well as I like the whole like mob gangster feel with him.
Yep,
Like
me too.
he's a true mobster. That I love his setting, like the palace that he's in and all that, or at least that's what I call it, Jabba's palace.
It is.
It is Jabba's palace. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I love everything about him. He almost kind of reminds me almost of a Dooku, just with that whole like kind of classic like fictional villain type character. Because like when you think of those type of characters, you think of someone similar to like how Dooku is, kind of like polite, graceful, but you can tell they're kind of mean and evil, all that stuff. But with Jabba, he just doesn't mess around. He just wants to mess with you, throw you in the Narlac pit. All that stuff. Like he just doesn't care. That's what I love about him. And he holds a lot of power. Exactly.
Presence is just power.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can tell that even with the people that are the aliens that he hangs out with too.
Well, I like the episode, not the episode I like the part in Return of the Jedi where he's like last. He's like, "Oh, you're a Jedi." Because the Jedi mind trick don't work on me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, wow, this guy's like for a fat slug, he's pretty awesome.
Well, that's the other thing I like about him too. He fits in with that quintessential like villain there too, because he's just this fat slob that no one wants to be around. He keeps like women as slaves and all that.
He's a great villain.
Exactly, and I like the race of him as well.
Keep watching Clone Wars, man.
I will.
His family's pretty dope.
I bet
he's an easy character to instantly know that he is the villain on screen.
Yes.
And he's a huge fan of pod racing, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that like your favorite Star Wars game, the pod racing game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's a good game.
Classic right there. N64, man.
I love that game.
Yeah.
What about the new one coming out later this year?
I saw that. I'm gonna get it, obviously.
Wait, is there a pod racing game coming?
Not pod racing.
I know there's Squadrons. I know it's Squadrons.
The Squadrons, yeah. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about. Already got it pre-ordered and everything.
Yeah, it looks good. It's cheaper too. It's only $40.
Exactly.
Well, they actually just put out the pod racing game on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, nice.
I need to get a Switch.
Yeah. So that's a plus there.
Yeah.
So I guess it's my turn for number 6, right?
Yes, sir.
This one should be a very quick one because we already talked to him twice. Is General Grievous.
All right.
Again, it'll be a trend on my list. Anyone who interacts with Obi-Wan Kenobi is held to a higher regard as me. Me. Grievous.
What a good fight too.
It was a fantastic fight. It wasn't long. It didn't need to be, and he held his own against Obi-Wan Kenobi, who, for all intents and purposes, is one of the strongest Jedi to ever live.
Yes.
And he held his own, and he just, unfortunately, Obi-Wan was just too smart for him. So.
Hello there.
I mean, yeah. If he had been an actual Sith, he would have known that Obi-Wan was there, and he would have been like, "Well,
Exactly.
You should have said hello a while ago when you were back there on that raptor."
I knew you were here, right, buddy?
Well, the other thing is he also, because Obi-Wan, he's like the best in his style of fighting, the all defensive style of fighting. So that's another reason for Grievous's downfall. Just keep attack.
Well, what's cool too with Grievous, though, think about it. He had a whole droid army surrounding him.
Exactly, that too.
And he was like, I got this.
I got
he takes
this.
his tape off. He's like, hold my beer,
That cocky son of a bitch.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he was willing. He was going down, bro.
Like at the time,
He's a true warrior.
Obi-Wan was a big. He was sitting on the Jedi Council. He was a Jedi Master. He had a shit ton of accomplishments.
Yep.
And Grievous still was just like, nah, I got this.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. One of the best parts. Yeah. So we all agree Grievous is amazing.
Yes.
So my number 5 is a character Eric's already mentioned. Is Count Dooku.
Okay.
Count Dooku holds such a pivotal role in Star Wars. I mean, again, it's Christopher Lee. I mean, so that alone, he's on the list. But like, you know, he started the war. You know, like essentially, like, you know, in episode 2, like he wasn't aware that they even had a clone army at the time. He was going to invade. You know, he was ready to invade and take over. And I like that. Like, you know, one, he was trained by Yoda. I mean, so you already know he's a badass. He's willing to go toe to toe with Yoda. You know, but not even just that. I mean, I'll say it again. The Clone Wars. You really get to see what a strategic and what a great villain he is. But you also, there's episodes where you actually see him, and not like, you know, like you see why the Separatists love him.
Right.
You know, like, because like he's not a villain to them, and you see that he cares for his people. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he's hurt. You know, he was hurt by the loss of his Padawan. You know, he felt that the Jedi Order was already treating Qui-Gon with disrespect, with not putting him on the Jedi Council. So he was losing face with the Jedi, and then he meets a guy like Sidious, who, you know, he's the master persuader, is the greatest puppet master, and he went with it, and you get to see so much. You get to see so much more character development of Dooku, and more fighting, by the way, with Dooku in the Clone Wars. And his fighting style, I think, is one of the coolest fighting styles ever, like Eric already mentioned.
Yeah.
And his lightsaber, actually, believe it or not, his lightsaber is my favorite lightsaber.
Yeah, his lightsaber is sick.
It's a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's very elegant. So Dooku is my number 5, and I think the world of Dooku's character. I do not think he's a throwaway villain like some people say. I think Dooku plays a very, very, very pivotal role in Star Wars.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so my number 5 is Kylo Ren.
All right.
I like the character. I like the conflict in him. I like the struggle. It brings something new to a villain in Star Wars, because you know, all the other villains, they're straight on their path, dark side. They know what they want to do. Kylo, he's just conflicted. He doesn't know what to do. You know, I think we already said everything there is to say about the guy.
Probably,
He's
a great villain.
Yeah,
great villain, honestly, great story arc.
Honestly, I kind of relate to him too, especially from like the first one, like seeing him have his freakouts and all that. I look back at my younger self, I'm just like, all right, that was me.
Yeah.
Pissed off at the littlest thing, although why he was getting pissed off wasn't little, but still.
Well, I like the fact he was very imperfect.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
And he was like almost like a crybaby. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't get his way. You know, and I like that. I like that aspect of him a lot. I think.
Same.
And I think he was very powerful. He's very raw strength, and if he could have honed it, he would have been superior to Vader. But he couldn't keep himself calm.
Exactly, right. And that's the other thing I like about him too. He tried to like continue what his grandfather did.
Yes.
He tried to continue it. Failed at it, but you know what? That's what made a great story. Yeah. So, Kylo Ren.
All right. Number 5 for me is lower than he's going to be on from your list, but and it's mainly because of, personally, I find his character pretty annoying, is Palpatine.
Okay.
Wow.
I think from...
Let's hear it.
Yeah, exactly. See? So
I want to hear it, dude. Just lay it out.
I think he is the epitome of the type of bad guy that I don't necessarily like.
Okay.
Because he is the puppet master. He's the person who's the mastermind, and he generally doesn't get his feet wet. And I'm more of I like the bad guy who's going to be out there on the front line showing his people how to do it.
Right.
Not the one that cowers behind everyone else. And that's just my perception from the movies. And it kind of shows that, like, even, like, he had it all right there where he was going to kill Luke, and he was going to do it, but he was holding back, which to me was just like, if you were just going to kill him, just kill him. You could have killed him in like a second if you're still that powerful. But
Yeah.
instead, he was holding back, hoping that he would end up killing Vader, and then he can persuade another person to be underneath him. And then Vader, like a boss, picked him up and threw him over the edge. And then even in the first trilogy, before you really know that he's Palpatine, it's like I just thought his character was just obnoxious and always trying to control everything. Personally, I had no other reason other than I found him annoying.
That's fine.
I'll have to wait till I get to my Palpatine on the list to defend his honor.
That's fine.
I mean,
Defend it all you want.
I like these. I like when you see like something that's supposed to be, up there, and you brought him down, and I respect that. I really do.
Me too.
The why I like him is the why you hate him. So I don't really know how.
Yeah.
Can't change your mind. Yeah, so that's fine. I'll get to Palpatine eventually. So my number 4 is one of my I have 3 number 1 favorite Star Wars characters. I can never decide. So my number 4 is Darth Maul.
Okay.
Now, just because he's one of my favorite characters, I don't think he's better than the people ahead of him as far as villain goes. But Darth Maul, he changed my life when I saw him in 1999 in The Phantom Menace. He was amazing, but to see him come back in the Clone Wars and to see him become so much more than a Sith and become a crime lord, he actually takes down the Hutts. He takes over the spice mines of Kessel, the Suns. I mean, he takes over everything. In Solo, obviously, you learn of his crime gang, Crimson Dawn. And he's just such a great character, and to see him flush out from the moment you see him in at the Empire, and the moment you see him in Phantom Menace to Clone Wars, where him and his brother reign, and then ultimately to see his brother pass, and then to get exiled to Malachor in Rebels, and to see his ultimate fate end the way it should have been.
Right.
Where he first meets his ultimate foe on Tatooine. And he dies by the hands of Obi-Wan. And it's a really beautiful moment. It's a quick fight, but it's really well done. And to see Obi-Wan basically and him finally like squash their beef, and basically like Maul was against the Empire, he just couldn't, like, he just didn't like Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan
chopped him now.
Yeah, I mean, embarrassed him. Well, he lost everything because of Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? Like, when you first meet him in Clone Wars, he's insane. You're seeing him like he's a fucking head case. He's nuts. But you slowly start to see him become more and more powerful and more sure of himself. But even he feared Vader. Like, he didn't want any parts of Vader.
Yeah.
And he kind of almost hints that maybe him and Vader had something. Maybe they fought once. But I just think Maul's like, he's just so much more than the character that you see in The Phantom Menace. Now, granted, Maul would have been on my list if he never appeared again.
Right.
And it was just The Phantom Menace because his presence in The Phantom Menace was just amazing. What Ray Parks did with the stunt coordinator. Ray Parks was only meant to be there as the stunt coordinator. Do you know who was supposed to be Darth Maul?
No.
Benicio del Toro was supposed to be Darth Maul.
I'm not gonna lie, that would have been interesting, but
yeah,
I'm happy they didn't choose him.
Yeah, well, George Lucas saw him. He was like, well, why doesn't this guy just do it? You know, like you know what I mean? Like, okay. And then Ray Parks, he nailed Maul, and Sam Witwer then is now the voice of him, and Sam has done amazing work with him, and to see Ray and Sam combined in Solo was really amazing. And if we eventually can get a Darth Maul series on Disney Plus, it would be amazing, because even though his story has ended, there's still so much more to explore.
Even just like a movie about like just something he's doing, I'd be satisfied with.
I'm fine with the movie, but I just think there's so much. Like, if you did a mini series for him,
he deserves a series.
Like a 10-hour mini series, you would get a lot of shit.
Well,
I mean, he definitely deserves one.
Look at some popular shows like Breaking Bad, Ozark, like all of those like crime-filled shows
have so many spin-offs.
They do so well.
Yeah.
And having someone like Maul, who's this believable character, like other than the fact that he got chopped in half and lived. Other than that part, he's a believable character, and he's someone who redeems himself in his own eyes.
Yeah, would you ever hear the story of how they brought Maul back? So Dave Filoni, who is the guy behind Clone Wars, Rebels, he's basically George Lucas's protege. He's actually the guy behind Mandalorian right now.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. He actually worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender. He was one of the guys from there too. That's how George kind of found him.
Right.
Well, he was working one day, and George just opened the door. And he goes, "Guess what?" He goes, "What?" He goes, "Darth Maul's back." He goes, "He is? How?" He goes, "I don't know. That's up to you to figure out." And he just walked out.
That's hilarious.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so Darth Maul is my number 4. I love him so much. He's always gonna be near and dear to my heart. My favorite Halloween costume I ever was. And yeah, Darth Maul is my number 4. So, and Eric, number 4, it's yours.
Darth Maul.
Whoa.
All right.
What else is there to say? I mean, we've already said everything about the guy.
Yeah, no, seriously. So I guess Andrew, what's your number 4?
Count Dooku.
All right.
I was hoping for a Maul.
Nah.
Me too.
Nah.
So do you have anything to add towards Dooku? Is there anything that was said that you wanted to add to?
I think the coolest part of his character, at least when you're first introduced to him, was just the mystery of who this guy actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was already brought up, like his fighting style was just so unique to the Jedis. Like you've seen plenty of different fighting styles at this point, and he was still unique to it. And like I think that's one of the coolest things about the prequels is so many people had so many different fighting styles that it was just we were like given such a gem to be able to see all of that. And like now it's just like, all right, well, how cinematic can this look? It's not it's not about like the art of it. They're just more like, okay, well, we need to have the sun setting on this direction to make it look really epic. And it's like, okay, that makes sense, but no one's doing anything new or cool.
Right.
Like, but that was something that lured me in, and Dooku exemplified that.
I also love Dooku's Sith name, Darth Tyrannus.
Yeah. That's
like the coolest Sith name ever. I'd be like, I would never even want to be called Count Dooku. I'm like, dude, I'm Darth Tyrannus. don't even come at. Well, actually, before Disney did Galaxy's Edge, I had not built a lightsaber in Galaxy's Edge yet. But when they just had it, you could build a lightsaber next to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. If you look at the different hilts, they don't have Dooku. They say Darth Tyrannus.
Yeah.
And so I was like, good for you.
Good call.
Good for you. So yeah. I mean, Dooku's amazing. Yeah. You know what I love about our list? Like, so much love for the prequels.
Yes.
So much love.
Still not over either.
No. So my number 3, the Order 66 Clone Troopers.
Yo.
Okay.
That's a good shout.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
because
is it.
Who has killed more Jedis
than those guys?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. I didn't even think of that.
That was probably like, I mean, even watching it today, I get goosebumps when you watch that scene. Like the scene where like you see like Curie Mundi like turn around, and you can see.
Oh, dude, when Plo Koon gets shot down, I cried.
No, Plo Koon's the man, but like for some reason, like Curie Mundi's affected me the most.
Yeah.
Because like he's running and he turns back, it's like.
Yeah, he's like, come on, like he's trying to lead people.
Yeah, and like you see like I don't know, Curie Mundi's one of the greatest Jedis. You know,
100%.
You know, Plo Koon, that's my boy. But like to see him like be betrayed. Like I feel like he captures.
Yeah.
In his face, you could tell he's like, damn, like.
He's like, oh shit.
This is it, man. Like, you know, like. I just think that's like I have goosebumps right now talking about it.
Me too.
It was such a powerful moment to see these guys that were brothers, right? I mean, Clone Wars, man. You see the close bond that certain characters had with clones, and to see your brothers turn on you like that, like, and I wasn't expecting it. Like I remember, like I didn't think anything about it. Like I always knew that somehow, like, oh, they look like stormtroopers. They got to be stormtroopers. You know, like how are they gonna be? Like you kind of knew like they were gonna be evil somehow. You know, even though they aren't, they never became stormtroopers. But yeah, to see their turn. But actually, they do become something. The clones after Order 66, they were decommissioned. But anybody who played Jedi Fallen Order, they had the remaining clone troopers are the Purge troopers. They're really dope. They actually have like lightsaber resistant armor. They're really badass. And it's
That's
really
cool.
cool to see. Yeah, it's really cool to see them. But yeah, Order 66 clones are my what is it? What did I say? Number three is my number 3. I thought they're the most. It's one of the most powerful moments of Star Wars history.
Yeah, it still makes me cry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Me too.
So what's your number 3, Morley?
Tarkin. I mean,
Okay.
in my opinion, he's get the hell out of here. That's what you get for sitting outside. You get bugs.
He agreed. He's like, I like Tarkin too.
What I like most about him, like I feel he's the most evil character in all of Star Wars. Even more so than Sidious, even more than Vader, and even more than Dooku, any of them.
And they played on it in Rogue One, which is really cool.
Exactly. That's what really sealed the deal for me on how evil Tarkin is, because you can just tell that guy just does not care.
Well, he takes credit for the Death Star.
Exactly. Yeah. When he took credit for that, I was like, "Oh my god!"
And I like that he's. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say like even like from A New Hope when he just, you know, he basically plays Leia a little bit. He's just like, oh, just give us the plans or whatever, and he just blows up Alderaan anyway. I'm just like, all right, this guy's a force to be reckoned with. Do not mess with him. Plus, just the look, the way
he did not fear Vader at all.
No, he didn't. He's the only one that stood up to Vader.
And
like,
it's Peter Cushing's.
I was just about to say that too. It's Peter Cushing's. Like, come on. But yeah, Tarkin.
Tarkin's badass. That was a good shout.
Yes.
All right, so we're down to my number 3, and it's kind of like a kid. Like I'm sort of like a kid with this list.
Okay.
Because like I'm just thinking of growing up watching Star Wars and which characters influenced me the most.
Yeah.
And number 3 was Boba Fett.
Okay. Yeah, Boba Fett, bro.
There was just something about him. Like it was growing up when you watched Empire Strikes Back, and you just see this dude, and you know that he's a bounty hunter, and like he's just sitting there, and he's in this like the same vicinity as Vader. You know that he's a bad guy and he's strong because like why else would he be hired there? Why else would he be doing all this? Like I just think
incineration.
Yeah.
Like he's just a character, and I think he has one of the funniest and coolest deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Ah!
Actually, technically,
I know he's still alive.
Yeah,
he's still digesting.
Season 2, bro. Yeah. The Beskar armor.
Exactly.
No, there's something special about Boba Fett. There's always going to be something special.
Well, wasn't there something in Legends where he actually escaped from there?
Yeah. In Legends, he escaped the Starlight Pit. I think Legends about to become canon because he's the guy who played Jango Fett is reclaiming his role as Boba Fett for the Mandalorian.
Yes.
And it's so cool, but like you mentioned the disintegration. Don't disintegrate him. Would you notice in episode 2 of The Mandalorian, he disintegrates a Jawa?
Yeah.
Mando, so it's kind of cool. He disintegrates a Jawa, and that's what's cool. The Mandalorian kind of does some things that. And it also does everything in your head that you thought Boba Fett would have done. The Mandalorian does. It's pretty
and it makes you think too. Like, was he the one that did that to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, or whatever the hell? Yeah.
Well, if they're the new remastered versions of George Lucas, I mean, when he went in and redid them, he added Boba Fett to New Hope.
Okay.
Boba Fett's in all 3 movies of the original trilogy.
Right.
So yeah, I love Boba Fett. I mean,
Boba Fett's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
There you go.
So what are we at 2 now for me?
We're at number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, I have the fall of Anakin Skywalker and the rise of Darth Vader.
All right.
I like that. All right.
To see Anakin's final arc of Revenge of the Sith. Anakin's always struggled, because he wasn't supposed to find love, and he loved Padme. And then the newest season of Clone Wars really shed some light on Anakin's mindset going into that transition with losing his Padawan Ahsoka, and Ahsoka not wanting to come back to the Jedi Order, and he feels like he failed her, and that was like his it's like his kid, dude. It's like his best friend, other than Padme. And then and to see Sidious placing visions in his head of Padme dying, and then to be manipulated into, well, you can save her, And then,
by the way, best scene of that trilogy.
Yeah, and then just to see the pain that this kid has gone through from witnessing his mom being tortured by Tusken Raiders, and then chopping the famous line, "I killed them, I slaughtered them like they're animals." Like you always saw him tuggle, with the light and dark, and to see him finally take that moment where he takes out Windu, and chooses Palpatine, and to see the satisfaction in Palpatine's eyes, like yes, and he's like, almost like he's salivating, like, because he won, he got his kid, and I just think that the fall of Anakin up until the rise of Vader, with Vader in that my favorite Vader moment of all time is Rogue One, where he goes,
I think that's Voorhees, everybody's.
Full on Voorhees style on everybody, and it's amazing. And then I don't know, just like obviously him through the original trilogy. I mean, Vader, without Vader, I mean, I don't even know what the franchise would be. I mean,
it wouldn't have been successful.
Yeah, Daniel Jones's voice. I mean, I don't know, and I just think Hayden Christensen gets a lot of shit. I love how he portrayed Anakin.
Good. Yeah, I mean, he was perfect as a conflicted guy that was very whiny.
His acting needed a touch up, yes, but
yes, I agree.
The character itself wasn't bad.
Yeah. I think that when he had to play the role of being struggling.
Oh, that was his best.
When he made the turn, like he was. I think he was flawless, and the fact that dude got to wear the Vader suit was so cool.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in him.
Like my favorite moment of Anakin like transitioning into Vader is actually when he's on Mustafar, and you see the pain in his face after he slaughtered all the Separatists. Like just the pain in his face where he just realizes he's like, I can't turn back at this point. Like
he kills younglings. I mean, shit.
Exactly. Like just to be able to act out those facial features, and then when Padme tells him that she's pregnant, the way that he's able to like make all of those different
I got like goosebumps like all over again. Like just like Revenge of the Sith just does it so much, man.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's definitely Hayden Christensen's best acting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's like
he's good with emotions.
That to me is more like the fall of him is more powerful to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a thing. It's like this. He was meant to bring balance, which he ultimately does. But they thought it was going to go another way.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
They didn't expect all the twists and turns along the way. They just thought it was going to be like, all right, he's here, the force is balanced.
And he turned so he wouldn't lose Padme.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he lost her.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, here's a guy who just like he doesn't see his kids. Like he's just a guy just like and he had to fight his best friend. Like that part when he's like when Obi-Wan's like, "You are my brother, Anakin. I loved you," and then he's like, "I hate you." I'm like, it's I don't know, man. It's just everything about Revenge of the Sith it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, that's my number two.
Morally number two.
All right, here's my issue. My number two and number one are tied.
Okay,
I couldn't choose, so I'm just gonna say them together. I'll just say them together, honestly. My number one and number two being Vader. He's like the ultimate in the series. There's really not much to say about him. And then Sidious.
Okay.
Like pure evil right there. Like those two right there are just perfect villains, not just for Star Wars, but I would argue like any kind of franchise, just their characteristics. But I'll go to Vader real quick. Just how iconic Vader is in general. Like, even if you've never seen a Star Wars movie, ever,
You know who Vader is.
you know who Vader is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what he sounds like. You know that he's evil. You know what he's about. He's one of the greatest villains in all of cinema. I
Mhm.
mean,
Oh, he is. He is. No, he's, in my opinion, he's the number one. Him and Palpatine are the number one greatest villains of cinema.
I would put them both up in the top. I would put Sidious in the top 10. Vader, I put in the top 3. I don't know who I'd choose above him at the moment, but
I don't
yeah,
think anybody's better than him. The only person I would think is maybe like Heath, up on the par is like Heath Ledger's Joker.
he'd be up there too. Okay, that's
But
another discussion in
and-
itself.
Yeah, and Thanos. I thought that. Yeah, again, that's another discussion.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, like what else can you say about those two characters? I mean, we already talked about Palpatine a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
talk
like,
about more because.
yep. He's the puppet master. I mean, he's the guy behind everything. And Vader, he's just everybody feared him. Maul feared him.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody feared Vader. Like, in just that first scene in A New Hope, when he just comes in, you already know you're in for a ride. It's going to be a great time, and just everything he's about, like the Force choking, just I don't know. I don't know where I can go with this, but he's just a perfect villain.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Number
Andrew,
2.
What is your number 2?
Darth Vader. So Darth Vader, as we already mentioned, for me it was more. He was this powerful presence in the original trilogy. He didn't have to do much. Like at that point in his Sith career, we'll just call it a Sith career.
I like that.
At that moment in his Sith career, he was already at as high as he was going to go, unless he killed Palpatine, and he wasn't willing to do that. And so he was at the top of the top. He just had to walk into the room, and people feared him. They knew his power. Like, he was known across the galaxy. Like, it just says, like, so much that he didn't even have to have, like, a big battle with Obi-Wan for Obi-Wan to just be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna dip. Like, I'm out, and I'm gonna let the younger people take care of this, because this isn't my fight anymore. And he gave Vader the respect of giving him one last saber battle, and I think that was awesome. I think Vader was only strengthened by everything that happened in the prequels.
Yes.
And on top of that, everyone finally got the scene that they all wanted when Rogue One came out.
Yes.
They got to see Vader doing Vader things. Like,
dude, I got people to see that scene from YouTube, and it actually got my one friend to get into Star Wars because of that scene of Vader. So I mean, yeah.
It's one of the most memorable movie scenes from I would say the past 10 years.
Oh, easily.
Like there isn't anything that'll like make your heart sink more than like when the lights go out and you just see that saber and you're like, oh fuck, we're all dead.
Dude, it was the most intense like minute and a half of a movie that I've ever experienced. Well, not ever, that I've experienced in years up until that point.
It was incredible.
And what a way to like make you want to go like right after that scene and just go and watch A New Hope right after that, just so you can see the next part of the scene.
Perfect transition.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
So number ones.
So my number 1 is Palpatine.
Yeah.
Palpatine from his story when he was being trained by Darth Plagueis, and he decides to kill Plagueis in his sleep. The fact that he was able to gain control of the Senate, he made himself the Supreme Chancellor, and then he takes over the galaxy and builds the Empire. He had this plan, Order 66. He was the grand manipulator. He was, like everybody said, he is the puppet master. And to see his story not only end, and to see that his story didn't just end in The Return of the Jedi, but he was the grand puppet master of the sequel trilogy too. Don't wrong, it's a cop out.
It was a huge cop out.
Yeah,
and
it
probably
was.
The worst part of the new trilogy.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie. I thought Palpatine looked dope. It's whatever. Okay, I've
Love that
accepted.
look.
Yeah, I've accepted it. I'm not gonna lie. When I heard that Palpatine was coming back, I'm like, you got it. Kidding me.
I don't know. I was the opposite. I was like, I knew it.
Yeah,
I remember having that discussion with you before
Yep.
the movie came out, and
Yeah,
like you were just like, I'm really pissed off right now.
yeah.
I remember you telling me the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm one of those guys. They'll tell you that's. I don't really have much I don't have any much expectations going in. I let the directors give me the story. It's not about what I want.
Mhm.
You know, they're supposed to give me what I don't know I want. So,
Yeah.
I do love Palpatine's return now in the Rise of Skywalker. He did his part, and you know, just to see him as an overall arc, be the ultimate villain of 3 trilogies, right? What is it? 9 movies now. He
Yep.
has reigned supreme. And it's like it just doesn't get much better than that guy. Like he's just the ultimate evil. He is a dictator. He is a evil son of a bitch. Because like that's the thing. Like Vader was conflicted. Okay?
Yes.
That's the thing. Like, Vader was a conflicted character. He was manipulated by Palpatine.
Right.
And yes, that might be annoying that Palpatine's other people doing his biddings, but that doesn't negate the fact that he was pure evil. I mean, relate him to someone in our time who reigned supreme over Germany.
Yeah, silly mustache guy.
Yeah,
that mustache man.
Yeah, that mustache man didn't get his hands dirty that I know of. I mean, time travel apparently.
Other than fighting in World War One, he didn't have to do anything after that.
And that's the thing. Palpatine fought. You know, when he fought Yoda, when he had to do his thing, he fights a few times in the Clone Wars. He's pretty badass. He actually has one of the dopest fights between Maul and his brother.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about him in the Clone Wars because I know he's in it.
Yeah, no, he's just as powerful, man. He's amazing. You see him really. You could see him really manipulate Anakin, and you just really see the evil that is Palpatine. Like Palpatine is the epitome of evil. When I think of evil, I think of Palpatine.
Right. Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with this place on the list. It's again, mine was completely biased part of my list where I just thought he was annoying.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's
but
fine.
I can't deny his power, and I can't deny like the fact that he is one of the best villains in all of cinema, and he didn't even have to be the main focal part of most of it.
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of the thing. That's what made me mad though, like when he was brought into the sequel trilogy, because like I wanted Snoke to be the guy to surpass it, right? I wanted Snoke to end up being the ultimate evil, because like if I'm Disney, right, and I just paid $4 billion for a property, I'm making my people, the strongest, the most powerful characters in the galaxy. So I'm expecting like Snoke to be the next Palpatine, you know, like and again. He created Snoke, apparently. So I guess, you know, I would have to assume he was just as powerful as Palpatine, but, you know,
Yeah.
Plus, Ian McDiarmid just kills it.
Yeah, he does. So do you have anything to add about Palpatine, Eric? Because I know Palpatine was there.
No.
All right. So we'll go to Andrew's number 1 then.
And we all know who it is. It's the badass himself, Darth Maul. Yeah.
He was my number 1 for a while because I'm biased, but I had to I was like, oh, he's not more evil than Sidious.
Yeah, no, mine's 100% just the cool factor of Darth Maul. There was nothing cooler than as a kid, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna watch this Star Wars movie, and like the dude just pulls out one side of the lightsaber in his first battle, and he's just battling like that, and he's a badass in that scene, and then. The next time you see him fight, he's like, all right, cool. So there's a Jedi Master, and there's a Padawan, and I'm just gonna be like, all right, cool. You guys got tubers, so do I. And then he just battles them, and like the choreography in it, like his flips over the blades and everything, were the coolest things that you could never replicate as a kid, because you know I'm not flexible enough.
Yeah, like he's like walking down like
Yeah.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I'm just like, oh my, like yeah, no, like
Dude, the intimidation that he gives just staring Obi-Wan down or Qui-Gon or whatever.
yeah,
And he only had to have like one line in the entire movie, and it was still
and it wasn't even
it was still like one of
Awesome.
the coolest lines out of that movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, and it wasn't even Ray Park's voice there either.
And let me just add too to that fight, like one of the probably the best score in all of Star Wars.
Oh my god.
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
Yes, the best score in all of Star Wars, and I would argue top 3 of any movie ever.
I'd say Duel of the Fates is my second favorite. Battle of the Heroes is my first.
Okay.
Okay, I think Duel of the Fates is probably my first.
I love them
Duel of
both.
the Fates.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
Duel
me
of the
too.
Fates. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, trust me, it pained me not to put them all. So like, I'm happy you did because we get to talk about them. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about Darth Maul, and I just think he's an amazing character. He's the coolest villain ever.
He's the coolest looking villain at the very least.
Yeah, he is. This doesn't get cooler than him.
No.
Yeah. No.
That's why we all fell in love with him. He just looked cool.
That was the coolest part of the poster.
Yeah. No, exactly.
You were just like, what is this red face and why does he have horns? I love this.
Yeah. No, he was great, man. He was and that's why you guys, I encourage you guys to watch Rebels and see how Sidious feels about finding out he's still alive.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
And actually, you know the Darksaber, right? In Mando.
Yeah, that's from Rebels or Clone Wars.
It's from both, but
Okay.
Darth Maul wielded that saber for
All right.
Yeah, so you got to get there, buddy.
Yeah.
And so if you guys want to start out with Maul, I want to say he appears in season 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it in order and wait for him to appear.
That's what I did, but it was anticipation killed me. But yeah, man. So those are our list. I think that all our lists were really cool. Some of them I wasn't expecting, and it's just cool. I love the fact that Grievous got some love, and I love the fact that Dooku got some love. I think those two guys.
They get a lot of hate.
They don't get talked about nearly enough as they should. And they talk about Grievous being a coward, and some people think that Dooku was kind of pointless, and I disagree completely.
Yeah.
I think those two were very pivotal. I think they played important roles. I think they went hand in hand. And man, I can't say enough good things about the prequels.
I just thought one of the coolest parts of the prequels was that you had a different villain pretty much in every movie. Whereas like
exactly
in the original trilogy, it's just Vader. And then in the new one, it's Kylo Ren and sort of Snoke, but he died.
Yeah.
So
exactly, yeah. And then out of nowhere, the Emperor's on the X-Men.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the thing is with the Emperor though, everybody gets mad. Well, he I guess he didn't die. He did die.
He did die.
In Return of the Jedi.
He's a clone.
He's a clone. His essence transferred to the clone's body.
Why else do you think he looks so
like his original face? Yeah, and he basically looks like a weathered version of Palpatine before he wrinkled out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's the thing. That's what makes me accept the fact that I'm like, okay, it didn't negate Vader's victory.
Right.
It didn't destroy him, bringing balance to the Force. It's just Palpatine being a sore loser. And that's it, man. I mean, I'll be the first to say I love every single Star Wars movie ever made. I love all the TV shows.
Even the Christmas one?
George Lucas doesn't recognize it as a part of the canon, so neither do I.
Good answer. Good answer.
But I'm a guy yeah. Eric will tell you, I'm a huge defender of the sequel trilogy. I'm a huge defender of the prequel trilogy, and obviously I love the original trilogy. So, and then the two spin-off movies, I can't say enough good things about too. So I'm a big Star Wars guy. I love Star Wars, and I love all the villains that are on my list. And it was really hard, so I want to talk about more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're definitely gonna have more Star Wars talks in the future.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, we barely scratched the surface of everything here.
So.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, if I had something to tell you both to do, watch Clone Wars. I mean, Andrew, you love anime, so you're definitely not afraid to watch animation.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you what I told Eric. The first 2 seasons, some episodes are better than others. It's harder to get through.
That's typical with most shows, though.
Yeah, but just push through because when season 3 starts, from 3 on, it's just flawless.
Right.
They're just bangers, bro. And but like the Clone Wars, 7 seasons of just pure prequel love, and you could tell Filoni really took what George said about the prequels, and he really expanded upon George's vision.
Mhm.
And to me, the prequels is Star Wars. When I think of Star Wars, I think of Coruscant, I think of Mustafar. That's what I think about. And the Clone Wars even go to the underground of Coruscant. It's just
that's
so
cool.
cool, man. Yeah, it's just really cool. You get to see like the Coruscant prisons.
Okay.
I mean, it's just really cool. I just really, really highly suggest you guys watch Clone Wars, and I would love to have an episode all about the Clone Wars when you guys finish.
Do they have for the Clone Wars? Do they have like comics or anything for it? Because I might be more inclined to read.
They have because remember Marvel took over, so
Right.
as far as the new canon goes, I'm not really sure where that stands. I'm sure there's like spin-offs of it, but there's not one that's gonna like.
Okay.
You're not gonna. You have to watch and experience it. But there is like a thing you can Google a list of the essential Clone Wars episodes that have to do with the story and not like filler episodes, and you can watch it. Now, will probably cut your time back because I know you probably just don't have a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
So I would do that on your end, and then Eric, you have the choice to watch it.
No.
I think that wraps it up, though.
Yeah, I think so. I'm happy everybody came through with their list.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
So that's the show.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. That is the show. We did it, guys. We did it.
We did it. Yes.
All right. Nick is frozen on my screen.
Good.
There
All right,
it is.
Yep.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. I'll outro us, Nick. It's fine. You're freezing up, so it's really hard.
Cool.
Yeah. So check it out for another episode next week, and check out our socials, Twitter and Instagram. Never Soldout PC, as we always plug at the end of these things. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.